Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So let me see. Sridhar Rath Mataji is not on the call. Are you on the call, Mataji? No?
Yeah, I think so. She did not join, Prabhuji. I tried to call her, but
Sure. Okay, let me read then, Mataji. That's okay.
sure.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5 today, chapter 8, a description of the character of Bharat Maharaja. We're reading from verse 8 verse 11 to 22 today. Let me go through. Text number 11. Due to attachment for the deer, Maharaj Bharata laid on with it, walked about with it, bathed with it, and even ate with it. Thus his heart became bound to the deer in affection. Text 12. When Maharaj Bharata wanted to enter the forest to collect kusa grass, flowers, wood, leaves, fruits, roots, and water, he would fear that dogs, jackals, tigers, and other ferocious animals might kill the deer. He would therefore always take the deer with him when entering the forest. Text 13. When entering the forest, the animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharata due to its childish behavior. Maharaj Bharata would even take the deer on his shoulders and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or, when sleeping, on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal. Text 14. When Maharaj Bharata was actually worshipping the Lord or was engaged in some ritualistic ceremony, although his activities were unfinished, he would still, at intervals, get up and see where the deer was. In this way, he would look for it, and when he could see that the deer was comfortably situated, his mind and heart would be very satisfied, and he would bestow his blessings upon the deer, saying, "My dear calf, may you be happy in all respects." Text number 15. If Bharata Maharaja sometimes could not see the deer, his mind would be very agitated. He would become like a miser who, having obtained some riches, had lost them and had then become very unhappy. When the deer was gone, he would be filled with anxiety and would lament due to separation. Thus, he would become illusioned and speak as follows. Text number 16. Bharata Maharaja would think, "Alas, the deer is now helpless. I am now very unfortunate, and my mind is like a cunning hunter, for it is always filled with cheating propensities and cruelty. The deer has put its faith in me, just as a good man who has a natural interest in good behavior forgets the misbehavior of a cunning friend and puts his faith in him. Although I have proved faithless, will this deer return and place its faith in me?" Text 17. Alas, is it possible that I shall again see this animal protected by the Lord and fearless of tigers and other animals? Shall I again see him wandering in the garden eating soft grass? Text 18. I do not know, but the deer might have been eaten by a wolf or a dog, or by the boars that flock together, or the tiger who travels alone. Text 19. Alas, when the sun rises, all auspicious things begin. Unfortunately, they have not begun for me. The sun god is the Vedas personified, but I am bereft of all Vedic principles. That sun god is now setting. Yet, the poor animal who trusted in me since his mother died has not returned. Text 20. The deer is exactly like a prince. When will it return? When will it again display its personal activities, which are so pleasing? When will it again pacify a wounded heart like mine? I certainly must have no pious assets. Otherwise, the deer would have returned by now. Text 21. Alas, the small deer, while playing with me and seeing me feigning meditation with closed eyes, would circumambulate me due to anger arising from love, and, and it would fearfully touch me with the points of its soft horns, which felt like drops of water. The last verse, text 22. When I placed all the sacrificial ingredients on the kusa grass, the deer, when playing, would touch the grass with its teeth and thus pollute it. When I chastised the deer by pushing it away, it would immediately become fearful and sit down motionless, exactly like the son of a saintly person. Thus, it would stop its play. Yeah, that's the last verse for today. Harinam Kirtan Prabhu, when are you ready? You can start, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, it's clear, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatare Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, we are reading from the very interesting section of Srimad Bhagavatam, from the Bharatmala section, the 5th canto. And a lot of interesting things is being discussed. So, we will see some of those today. So, yesterday, His Grace Krishna Menu Prabhuji has started the discussion on the pastimes of Bharat Maharaj, and how eventually, he got caught up in a kind of attachment to the deer. So he could save, even like he has to save the child, which was, went from the mother, and he kind of, the deer mother was pregnant, and the baby fell from the womb in the river, and it was a miscarriage, so the mother died, and the baby needs to be taken care immediately because the baby was helpless. And Bharat Maharaj happened to sit on the bank of river Gandaki, and when seeing this kind of situation, as a natural devotee, being compassionate to other living entities, he lifted the deer from the water waves and and brought it to the ashram. So that was a compassionate act. Devotees' hearts are soft, and that's what he did in that situation. But after that, what happens is, eventually become affectionate towards the deer, and maintaining the deer, giving it the food, and protecting it from the other animals, and basically taking care of his all the basic needs. So it went to this degree. And then eventually, he forgot the rules and regulation of his spiritual life and worshipping Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that was the beginning of his decline in spiritual life. So that's all Prabhuji covered very nicely. And then Srila Prabhupada also has very, very nice, interesting purport in this section. We should go through those. I'm covering from text, I believe 11 onwards, 11:22. So in these verses, basically so as we covered yesterday, the attachment is developing or pretty much developed because Bharat Maharaj has become very fond of the dear baby. It's described in the Bhagavatam that Bharat Maharaj has developed, the Jnana and the Vairagya both, and he left the entire kingdom, the whole family, the sons, and so much wealth and everything, like somebody passes the stool and don't look back. So that's the analogy, he passes the stool and doesn't look like interested in that, and that's how he comes to the forest. And now how the Maya captures, this is Maya, how a small baby deer can capture all of his attentions and everything. So in the upcoming verses, or the verses we discussed, it's a little bit more elaborately explained that how Bharat Maharaj will sleep with him, he will walk with the deer, he will bathe with it, and even ate with it. So eating, bathing, eating, and eventually performing these activities, his art was in close affection with the deer. So another thing explains when Maharaj, whenever he used to go to forest to get grass, flower, wood, leaves, and everything, and he was always fearful that my deer will be attacked by the jackals, tigers, and other animals, and they will kill the deer, and therefore he would be a little bit concerned all the time. So there's a nice in the 12th verse, Srila Prabhupada gives very, very nice purport. Let me read that thing because this is very, very important for all of us. So Srila Prabhupada in the 12th purpose explains that even is such an exalted personality like Bharat Maharaj, who has attained the loving affection, or bhav platform towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he fell down from his position due to affection for some animal. Now, many of us can think or speculate, or how can be somebody like that? Because often in this world, the biggest attachment of this world is, dhana, yovana, putra, parijana, or sex life, So these are the biggest attachment of this material world. And often all of our acharya repeatedly speaks about, these kind of things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundari, kavitam va jagdish kamaye. So like that, all of these are also very, very big attachment, very, very big knots in the material life. And a materialistic person keep binding that knot one over another, one over another, one over another. But how somebody can just get attracted to a deer? So that might, like, I was also feeling when I was reading it, thinking about it. I was thinking, how can somebody be attracted to like a pet animal? Then I remember actually, I don't have direct experience. I have not done something like that. But I remember from my own childhood experience that when I was a child, I was also attracted to a kind of a dog, and was a street dog. And I used to wait, when the dog will come, I will feed him, I used to sit near my home door and wait. Oh, where is that dog went? Where is the dog went? And if the dog gets some scratch, oh my God, I was feeling the pain. Oh, who hit the dog? And I was a child. I was having that attachment. I was developing that attachment. I named even the dog name. I named the dog also. So that is one thing about my own personal realization. In fact, I saw even in my close relative circle. Recently, I went to India last year. I saw one of my close family members. They brought a dog at their house, and I was amazed. The dog was sleeping on their bed. The dog was eating with them, and the family is so mesmerized, speaking the glories of the dog. They were telling, oh this, oh that. He go with us. He listen to us. He follows what we say, and he's so nice. He's so nice. He's so nice. The dog is so nice. Like externally, I was saying, just nodding, okay, yes, 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 nice, nice, nice. But internally, something else was going on. So I was noticing that how the attachment has so much become dog consciousness. The dog consciousness has attained. Coming back to the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes now, as we can see, he had consequently, as will be seen, he had to accept the body of a deer in his next life. Since this was the case with Bharat Maharaj, what can we say of those who are not advanced in spiritual life? Srila Prabhupada is telling Bharat Maharaj was so advanced in spiritual life. Even then, he has to accept the body of a deer. What to speak of the materialistic people? So, the materialistic people, those who are attached to having cats and dogs, what is their destination? Their destination is to become cat and dog in the next life. That is their destination. Because this life is a training, and whatever we become attached to in this particular world, if we become attached to woman, the next life is woman, will become a woman. If we become attached to something else, eventually, we will lead to that particular body which can satisfy our desire for that particular thing. So if somebody become attached to dogs or these animals, they will become dog in their next life. So Srila Prabhupada writes, due to their affection for their cats and dogs, they have to take the same bodily forms in the next life, unless they clearly increase their affection and love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless we increase our faith in the Supreme Lord, we shall be attracted to many other things. That is the cause of our material bondage. So, very small purport, maybe 7 to 8 lines, but very clearly tells that how a living entity gets bind, by so many attachment or so many material bondages as available in this world. And unless and until we become attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will be definitely attracted to so many things of this world and keep in the circle of birth and death all the time. So elaborating on the same point, let me cover this also first. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada tells in the next purport the similar thing, that Bharat Maharaj left his wife, children, kingdom, and everything practically he left for the purpose of advancement in spiritual life. But he became victim to the material affection due to attachment to an insignificant pet deer. So what is the use of renouncing his family? So Srila Prabhupada tells that one who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. So we should be very, very careful that our feeling for affection, feeling for attachment, or our So we don't become attached to anything practically, unless only Krishna, Krishna's devotees, Krishna's pastime, Nama Rupa Guna Leela, Krishna's name, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's beauty, and basically we should develop our attachment towards these things. So that is how one can break this material bondage. Otherwise, they will naturally be attracted to so many things of this world and remain in this world. Srila Prabhupada writes another very beautiful line. Srila Prabhupada tells, sometimes in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities. But we should remember that everything is for Krishna. If we remember this, there is no chance of our being victimized by material activity. Now, this is a very, very important instruction, because we are a preaching movement. And often in the preaching, there is opulences, there is money, there is a wealth, and post, position, or so many material activities one has to do. But we should always think that we should do it as a servant of Krishna. So these things have given by Krishna to us, and we should be just caring for. And the whole goal is to serve Krishna. We are just a simple servant. I think I remember, and His Grace Anuttama Prabhu was sharing something similar along the lines in his Vyasa Puja offering on Tuesday. That ISKCON has been grown nicely. We have big temples, close political connections, and big name and fame. And often that leads to a lot of material wealth and a lot of material prosperity. So one has to accept all that, but we should always remember that these are not ours. These are not ours. We are not so great. We have been given this thing by to use in the service of Krishna, and all the glories, all the glorification, all the everything belongs to my Guru and the entire parampara. So that's the right way. Otherwise, we will be victimized by the so-called pujala, pratishtha, so-called name, fame, so-called wealth. So one should be very, very careful not to become attached to these things too. Okay. So we can also see in this material world, a lot of people has pets and dogs, and often they want to keep it at their house and everything. So we'll talk about that today, because this section is very suitable for that discussion too. So we'll go through in that direction now. Just a second. Okay. So here is the thing. As we know that there are different category of consciousness. Stones, then plants, then they have animals, then humans. So they all are in an order of a developed consciousness. So we have some more developed consciousness than the animals. Animals have more developed consciousness than the trees. Trees have more consciousness than the stones. And based on their kosha, their consciousness, they're arranged like that. So one can ask, one should have compassion towards this living entity, the cats and the dog. One should have the compassion, but one should discriminate also. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29th chapter and 28th shloka. So Srila Prabhupada writes, it was explained that living entity should be honored by charitable gifts and friendly behavior. And in this verse, in the following verses, the description of different grades of living entity is given, so that one can know when to behave friendly and when to give charity. Sure. Now, for example, a tiger is a living entity, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Lord is living in the heart of the tiger as super soul. But Does this mean that we have to treat the tiger in a friendly manner? Certainly not. We have to treat him differently. He became charity in the form of prasad. The many saintly persons in the jungles do not treat the tiger in a friendly way, but they supply prasad, foodstuff to them. The tiger come, take the food and go away, just as a dog does. According to Vedic system, a dog is not allowed to enter the house because of their uncleanliness. Cats and dogs are not allowed within the apartment of a gentleman, but are so trained so that they stand outside. Now, very important lines. The compassionate householder. So we have compassion, right? Because we are many times we keep this pet because of our, we don't have anybody to love with, or we have so much compassion, and the cat and dog is very subordinate, listen everything to us. So we become very compassionate and we transfer all our love, affection, feeling, our loving propensity to the pet, and that's how it happens. Right? The compassionate householder will supply prasad to the dogs and cats who eat outside and then go away. We must treat this lower living entity compassionately. So we should have compassion towards them. We should give them the prasad. We should give them the opportunity to advance in spiritual life. But this does not mean that we have to treat them in the same way we treat other human beings. So this is the discrimination we have to have. We cannot treat them in the same way because the way we treat the humans. So the feeling of equality must be there. Everybody is a part and parcel of the Lord. So there should be a feeling of equality. Everybody is a part and parcel. But depending on which body that person is, the treatment should be discriminating. Just how discrimination should be maintained is given in the following verses. This is how Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely that how one should have a compassionate heart towards those living entity and pray for them or giving them the prasad. But after that, not entertaining much, bringing them to house, basically all our things are happening with them, eating, sleeping, and so many things with them. That's very, very crucial. Oh, 727. Okay, in the next upcoming verses, basically it's explained that how Bharat Maharaj could not concentrate upon worshipping the Lord because of so much attachment. He was engaged in worshipping the deity earlier, but now his mind become restless due to this particular affection towards the deer. And he's always worried, as I mentioned, he's always think of it, where he has gone, and all his worship get distracted. And we often hear that, because of lack of association for Bharat Maharaj, these deviations, this attachment comes in the life. So it's very, very important in a sadhaka life. We should have a respectful dealings with all the Vaishnavas. We should have few Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis whom we are close with, and we should have very few devotees whom we can share our heart. Rati Pratyagnati Guyamakati Prichati. We all should have some devotees, some mentors, some close friend, which we can share our heart. So if we have those things in our life, then we will be easily overcome all those things, because our friend, our Vaishnava friend, our Vaishnavi friend, they will mention to us, hey, you looks like you have become attached to this thing, you are getting away from your spiritual life. And they will help us bring, or our mentor will help us to bring back to the track. So very, very important. So Bharat Maharaj, then Srila Prabhupada gives another example, the purport of 15th, that somebody loses the money, right? And then mind become very agitated. Similarly, the mind of Bharat Maharaj become agitated, very agitated. This is one example, in that time he become attached to the deer. One can observe in our own life what we are attached to, what we are attached to, gaining so much wealth, attaining so much luxury comforts, attached to getting name, fame, attached to sex life, attached to, so-called so many things, or video games, or what and what not. So we should always look in our life where my consciousness is, where my mind is getting attached to, and is. So Srila Rupa Goswami gives a very nice thing. Srila Prabhupada tells that our attachment should be transferred to the Lord's service, and basically how does that work is, we may not have a direct strong inclination or attachment to the devotee or to the Lord, but the formula is given in the third canto. Pasanga ajaram pasam atmana kavayo vidhu se eva sadhu sokrito moksha dvara var apavritam. So we should have, that we have this attachment, tendency to get attached to, whatever gives us enjoyment, or, so we have that thing in our mind, and that same attachment binds us in this material world. But if the same attachment, if we get attached to some great devotees, or the self-realized devotees, or the sadhus, the same attachment will open the door of liberation. And that's very practically demonstrated by Srila Prabhupada disciples. Being from the Western origin, so much different things, they become attached to Srila Prabhupada. They don't know Krishna, they don't know Lord Ram, any of those. And just becoming attached to a pure devotee, his instructions, his life, that the door of liberation is open. The plane, the spiritual plane is waiting outside their door. They can go anytime. So we cannot kill our attachment. Srila Prabhupada writes this very, very clearly. We cannot kill the attachment. It should be transferred. It simply needs transfer from one thing to another. So that will develop our consciousness. Okay, as I was mentioning, the Srila Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami, he's praying, that as a young man and young woman, they are naturally attracted to each other, And we can see, a young man, they're always thinking about it. They always think, oh, what should we be doing? And we'll wait. Oh, this is a meeting time, when they will come. I will do this, I will do that. So much material or mental adjustment, mental planning, and so much, and it goes, because of this attraction, they do so much thing. So basically, so Rupa Goswami is praying that we should have that kind of a natural attraction to the Lord's service, the way the young men and women have. We can have that kind of attachment to the Lord. That would be such a nice thing. Okay, going forward. Now, Bharat Maharaj, in some of the verses, Bharat Maharaj started to feel in his heart that because of his negligence, his neglect, the deer has left. And is it possible some tigers or some animal has eaten the deer? Or when will I see him again? So kind of you see so much anxiety, so much worried about the deer, so much feelings. So much feelings. Oh my goodness. But from a spiritual point of view, he is falling down from his spiritual position. And again, those same lines. Let me finish the last. In fact, this example of prince is given. So he was treating his deer like a prince. So when will it return? when will the deer will display his personal activity, his leela, because he was feeling so pleasure, eating with it, pampering it. We can see sometime, we develop attachment to the young childs. They speak broken words, papa, papa, whatever, or so much attachment we also develop. Uh, that's natural, being a responsible caretaker. So, but one should always remember the topmost attachment. We should not neglect that attachment. So, this is moha, and all his meditation, all his mind meditation was on the deer only, and he fell with the love with the deer. And so basically, the essence of these verses is we should have a kind of a close watch, or we should have a close sangha, where our attachment we can share, we can observe, or somebody else can see where our mind, where our chitta is getting attached to, and they can help us if we become distracted or diverted or deflected to any other things of this world other than serving Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. Please forgive if there is any mistake. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harinam Kirtan Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.